Hi, it's Dave here, and I'm with my wife, Cathy.
Hello.
And we're doing another Cinemile. That's where we walk to the movies, and then we watch a movie, and then we walk home from the movies.
Yes.
While talking about the movie.
And today we're walking to
simple.
Mission Impossible. We're
colon.
so excited.
Fallout.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a colon.
Just call it Rogue Nation. Oh, they're all rogues.
I hope
Mission Impossible Rogue Nation 2. That's what they should call it.
Perfect.
I assume. Have you seen a trailer for this?
No, I've been deliberately avoiding all trailers for this because this is the most excited I am for any movie this year.
Same. I saw like the start of a trailer and I looked away, even though I was like, I get it, it's Ethan Hunt doing awesome stunts, but I just thought I don't want to ruin any of it for myself.
Exactly. Trailers these days show you all the best bits, usually.
And I don't want to know the plot. I don't care. I want to see it fresh.
Same.
Like,
and I don't
need
want to know.
Sold.
I know that Henry Cavill's mustache is in this movie.
Yes, we do know that.
And I don't want to know. Is he I don't even know. Is he the villain? Is he is he on the team?
I don't know.
Is he just there for lols?
He's just there because he's Superman. And then I know Rebecca Ferguson's coming back, and I'm a humongous fan of her. It's in the last movie, so she's doing very well for herself this year. So she was in. Last year, The Greatest Showman, which ended up being one of the most successful cinematic releases ever for a musical, and now she's in this, so that's a pretty good box office year for her.
She's brilliant. I love her.
Yeah, she's so cool. But yeah, we're going to see it. We're running a bit late, so we don't have much time to talk, but we are huge Mission Impossible fans on this podcast.
So much so that I rewatched all 5 of these movies in the last couple of weeks. Some of you were following along on Twitter while I assaulted you with my nonsense thoughts. And I also went on another podcast, a really good podcast called Torn Stubs, to chat with the hosts Robert and Joshua about all 5 Mission Impossible movies. So that's live now. I'd recommend going have a listen to that. We had a really good chat, and we really dug into those. Because this is a really good franchise. It's so reliable.
Yeah.
Even number 2, which is clearly the worst one, has merit because
I need
it's
to
so
rewatch
stupid.
number 2
it's fun
because I don't remember. I just remember like kind of the big scenes from it, but I don't remember the movie.
We won't get into it now.
We won't get into it.
Go listen to the Torn Stubs on that.
And we're super excited, but we're running very late.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna head in now. And see you very, very, very,
and
very
your mission,
soon.
should you choose
I
to
don't
accept
know
it?
why I'm whispering.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is before you've even listened to the rest of this episode, log onto your iTunes account, leave us a 5-star review. All right, and now this message will self-destruct in
please don't be
3,
mean.
2, 1.
I can't believe you did that. How long have you been planning that?
Actually, just came to me.
That's so lame.
He's not just some observer. He's an assassin.
I don't trust anybody outside of this room.
You go rogue, he's been authorized to hunt you down and kill you.
That's the job. No hard feelings.
Which way, Betty?
Turn left! Go, 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 go! What are you waiting for? I'm jumping out a window!
Oh, sorry. Good luck.
Right, we've just seen Mission Impossible Fallout. We're walking to the train. Cathy, what do you think?
Okay, I
No
think
spoilers yet.
no spoilers.
As always.
So like since we started this podcast, which is over 2 years ago now, that movie is the most fun I've had in the cinema.
Yeah?
In years. Yeah. In terms of pure enjoyment and spectacle, I loved every single second. Like I was so happy in it, and I always feel like that when I'm at a Mission Impossible movie, and I've seen all of them in the cinema except for the first one, and I just really wish that we went to 3D IMAX. We didn't. We just went to a regular 2D screening because that was the time that suited us. And it's still a really good cinema. Like it's one of those big screens in view. But I just kept thinking, oh, I wish I was watching this in 3D. It would have been even better. But honestly, I loved it. And it's just so relentless, the movie. Like over and over and over again, to the point where like at one point the whole audience is in complete silence, which is hard to do in a packed cinema on a Friday night, which this is, like complete silence, and then people kept laughing like nervously because things were getting more and more tense. And I just love Tom Cruise in these movies, and I love his team of like Ving Rhames, and Simon Pegg and Alec Baldwin, so lots of returning people now in this movie. And then I thought Henry Cavill was awesome, and I think Rebecca Ferguson is just absolute perfect casting, so I enjoyed the entire lot of it.
She's great.
Oh,
This
and-
is basically, it's as closely tied to a previous Mission Impossible movie as any of the other ones.
Yeah.
have been. Like, this is a direct sequel.
But it doesn't matter,
to Rogue Nation.
because as much as I loved Rogue Nation, I don't remember it, and it didn't matter at all
I mean,
for
that's
this
classic
movie.
you don't remember a
Well,
movie
yeah.
a day after you've seen it.
Yeah, but it was
Tomorrow
also like-
you'll be like, what was Fallout? What was that one
But it was like 3 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't, like, it's not a movie that I would, like, that would spring to mind
We
in
watched
terms
it
of...
last week. You watched half of it.
Well, I watched, like, about half an hour of it when you were watching it. But in terms of the overall plot, I just thought it didn't matter. Like, anyone could go and watch this movie, albeit it was enriched if you've seen the movie before. But what I love is it's drawing on all the old movies with the other characters. So I just thought... And Angela Bassett's in it, which is awesome. So, yeah, I just enjoyed every single second of it, and I'm so happy we went to see it. And it's a long movie, but it's actually worth its length. Like, it really keeps the pace going. There's not even a second in this movie that lags, I thought. And there's so much humour in it, which you've watched the other movies more recently than I have, which we mentioned in the intro. But I don't remember them being... I remember them being funny, but I don't remember them being as funny as this one.
Okay, well, quick note on that. It's I still think the fourth one is the funniest and the most sort of joyous. And there's
The fourth one being when he goes up the Burj Khalifa,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
that
was
was
awesome.
the most
Which we
fun-
saw in IMAX, and it was the best IMAX experience ever.
that one's the most playful. That one has the most invention as well, actually, in terms of the gadgets and all that.
Yeah, this one was lacking the gadget stuff.
Totally
a bit.
lacking.
Yeah.
And I'm jumping ahead because I haven't even said my basic thoughts yet. But that was one down point I thought of this. There wasn't any of the crazy gadgets that you get like in the Kremlin and Ghost Protocol when they got the screen which reverses things and the sticky gloves. There was none of that. It was just very I hate to use the word grounded, but it's that
It
kind
was grounded
of thing.
though.
But
It felt
was.
entirely realistic every single second.
But like, I loved this movie as well, and you said it right. Spectacle. This is just like, it's the closest we've gotten to old school 80s action movie in decades.
Yeah.
I think this series.
Like, I mean,
Tom-
I just saw Rampage, which you didn't, which, as I said on my review, was amazing. 3D.
Skyscraper! Oh my god, when are you going to stop confusing
Okay.
these two very different rock movies?
I know, they're very different.
They're
So
so different.
I just watched Skyscraper, and the 3D was awesome, and the action was awesome, but they were just like set pieces of action. And they were just, for what they were fun and silly. But this is a completely different league to
Okay, and
Skyscraper. Like,
I haven't s-
unbelievable. Like,
I haven't
every
s-
single scene in this movie is incredibly choreographed, incredibly tense, incredibly action-packed. And, like, you just, like, I just love that Tom Cruise, you know, obviously he's a very athletic, fit man, but he's in his 50s. He's of, like, regular height. I'm sure if you passed him on the street, you know, he's not a Ving Rhames or a Henry Cavill. Like, he's just a normal-looking guy. Like, what he does, and the fact that he does his own stunts.
He's not a Ving Rhames or a Henry Cavill.
But you know
Sorry,
what I
go on.
mean? Like, he's not like a notably buff-looking
yeah.
guy. And, like, the fact that Tom Cruise does this stuff just adds so much to the movie for me. And I know it shouldn't. And ordinarily, if I read about something like that, I would say, oh, that's such a gimmick. But every scene I'm turning to Dave going, did he do this one? Did he do this one? Did he do this
It
one?
adds so much to it
so
when you know he was hanging on the side of a
cool.
helicopter.
Oh
when you
my
know
God.
he was.
And he's old, like he's in his 50s. Like, this is not like a young stuntman like subbing in for Tom Cruise. Like, this is Tom Cruise doing this stuff, and it blows my mind.
Okay, quick couple of points. First of all, on the action.
But did you like it? You haven't even said.
Yeah, I said I loved it.
All right, okay.
I loved it. It was brilliant. It's a brilliant action movie. Christopher McQuarrie is just a genius at putting together an action scene.
So well directed.
You know where everyone is. You know what's happening. It's clear. The camera knows when to pull out. You get some beautiful vistas. There's the editing of this is action scenes upon action scenes cutting together. It's just an absolute masterclass in how to create suspense, tension, thrilling action scenes. And they take enough time before each scene to set up the stakes and
Yeah.
also set up exactly where everything is and what we need to do. It's so easy for an audience to understand.
Even the
And
car
that's what-
chases, like, I cannot follow most car chases in movies, and I can follow everything that's happening in this movie and the last movie, because he did that one too, right? Christopher McQuarrie. Yeah. Like this whole sequences with motorbikes, cars, things that in another movie I can tune out of for 5 minutes because I'm just like, and like a bigger example of that for me is like the Avengers movies where I cannot follow what's happening because there's too many characters and they're just not as interesting as this. Whereas this is just like you said, they just set the scene so well and you can get everything that's happening. But
also there's a sense of reality to it all because they film on location. You recognize. I was like, no spoilers, but London features. I recognize loads of my commute. They're in Paris, which is heavily publicised. That's actually Paris. The Arc de Triomphe was there. It's all recognizable.
Yeah.
They went there. They did these things. Tom Cruise did these things,
and it looks real.
So much to be said for that because I haven't. Okay, I haven't seen Skyscraper, but The Rock. That building wasn't real. That's an invented building, first of all. So
but that was a plot device. It's like the eighth wonder of the world.
Yes, but when you create a CG building that doesn't exist and then The Rock's interacting with it, you've already lost some realm of reality, for instance. But you also mentioned the Marvel movies, and I'm a big fan of those, but you don't get, the action movies, it's just green screen, and you see but the behind the scenes stuff, and it's all the cast standing around. The only thing that's real is some plastic rocks and rubble, and everything else is green behind them.
And this is like Tom Cruise, I'm pretty sure, actually on a motorbike driving the wrong way around the roundabout at the Arc de Triomphe.
Well, the thing is, it's enough of a magic trick that they can sell the illusion because Tom Cruise does enough of his own stunts that we can't tell the difference between what he is doing and what he isn't doing.
And we know he drives a motorbike, and he does in a lot of the movies has done a lot of the motorbike stuff. So even if he's not doing it in this one, we just assume
you buy it. But also the CG, let's not fool ourselves either. There's CG in this movie, but it's hard to. I couldn't spot it. Maybe once or twice. I
spotted it once.
Maybe
which I'll get to in spoilers.
That's the best use of CG, and even if you go back to Mission Impossible 3 and the bridge scene that J.J. Abrams did. There's a great behind the scenes thing on YouTube of how he did that, and that bridge was in a desert. There is no water. The water is all CG, but nobody's looking at that. It's all background, and that's how you sell the magic trick because he built a bridge in a desert.
There's enough for
and Christopher McQuarrie understands that, and I believe everything that's happened in this movie. Now, so I think we've gushed enough about it. I think everyone should go see this because this is action at its best. It's thrilling. It's fun. It's energetic.
And it's a smart movie. Like, it's not speaking down to its audience. And there's loads of, at one point there's 3 pivotal plots happening at the same time, like in real time. And they're all so suspenseful. And I just really enjoyed that. Like, there's enough going on. And like, ultimately, at the end of the day, we got a really long shot of Tom Cruise running, which is the absolute best thing about any Mission Impossible movie. And there was a scene that harks back to Mission Impossible 2, the kind of iconic image from Mission Impossible 2.
There's a lot of harkbacks, and I think that's a good transition to Spoiler Street. So we're turning into
spoiler
the train
station
here.
Yeah.
It's
full of spoilers. Beware.
It's Spoiler Station.
Let's hope no one on our train hasn't seen Mission Impossible.
We're crossing the spoiler bridge to get on our
spoilers
spoiler
for
train.
Fallout now. I don't know where to start.
Oh my god. Okay. First of all, I think
I wish we had notes and could go scene by scene every
Is that our train?
No.
I say this every time. Okay. I think I'd like to start with the things I didn't like first because I've kind of gushed enough.
Ooh, negative Nancy.
No, but there's you got to point out the stuff that didn't work.
Okay.
And there was some stuff in there, and none of it was enough to detract from the experience. But it's just when you're so close to like this perfect experience, it's like slightly disappointing when you're like, oh really, you're doing that? So first of all, from the off, the mission or the MacGuffin kind of
should you choose to
disappointed me. Nuclear warheads again.
I can't remember. Is that in one of the other movies?
Yeah, it's in every. Not only is it in some of the other movies, it's in the fourth one. At least, I mean, the second one is a bioweapon, but it's always end of the world.
Yeah, of course.
I wish.
No, it wasn't end of the world. It was end of some of the world,
a new world
to scare
whatever.
The rest of the world into action.
But I'm sick of,
which is in every movie.
I'm sick of, and we talked about this on Torn Stubbs in our retrospective. I'm sick of the villains these villains with ideologies, and they want a new world. They've done that every every episode, one of these for like since number 3 now, I think, and I'm just sick of it. I also kind of.
I'm listening. I'm just buying train tickets at the same time.
I wish they hadn't. God, I'm out of breath. I wish there was
Spoilers
a bit.
are tough.
I wish they just lowered the stakes a bit. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Like nuclear bombs, end of the world.
I like the stakes being.
No.
I like the stakes being high because it's an enemy from a previous movie.
Didn't like that either.
I liked it because I thought he was a really good villain. And they. Oh wait, I'm buying returns and we only need singles.
This
sorry.
is podcast gold.
I liked that it was the returning baddie and that the stakes were higher. And I actually, do you know what? I didn't mind it.
The stakes are high. The stakes aren't higher. You can't say when there's a nuclear bomb's going to go off. The stakes are high.
Can I just point out there's only 60p difference between a single and a return.
The only interesting bit. Nobody cares about that. The only interesting bit with the nuclear bombs was when they just before the credits, when they cut to the fake out with the news. CNN, the 3 bombs had gone off, 3 nuclear bombs, and they had failed. And I thought, wow, this movie's ballsy. They're actually playing straight up on Ethan's failure. And I like that's probably the one clear theme you could pick out from this is that it's that classic philosophical dilemma of do you save one life instead of millions. I'm talking to myself now because Cathy's gone ahead. And you're back.
Well, it's like utilitarianism, right? The greatest benefit for the greatest number.
So fine, which
Ethan does not believe it. Ethan thinks it's better to save one life than a million, which makes no sense.
That's what makes you the best, and that's why I joined the IMF, and that's why you're the greatest goddamn spy the world has ever seen.
I wanted Alec Baldwin to do like a similar monologue, which you probably don't remember because you don't remember movies that you've already seen. But in Rogue Nation, he does this amazing monologue, which I'll put at the end of this episode, where he basically says,
"My God,
Ethan Hunt is a ghost. He's the best goddamn agent you'll ever see. He could be in this very room. He could be anybody. He
could
probably
be me.
predicted this exact conversation."
And then does he rip his face off and he's Ethan?
Manifestation of destiny.
But you honestly, I didn't see them. I mean, I love the mask stuff. And there's a brilliant line in this where someone CIA trash talks them and says, "Oh, it's just a bunch of silly boys wearing Halloween masks."
That was fun.
And then at the start, though, someone was wearing a Halloween mask that I didn't expect. Like, I thought they had the actual newsreader involved in the scam. I wasn't expecting it to be. No, I really enjoyed that.
No, come
Any
on.
mask, every time there's a mask, I'm in complete shock.
This is my point. I enjoyed that fake out, and it's a nice callback to Mission Impossible 1 because that's how the whole series starts with a fake room and Ethan wearing a mask, and they get a whatever, blah blah blah. So I like that, but I wish they'd had the balls to go through with Ethan made a mistake and there was huge consequences. Like
but you said a minute ago you think the consequences are too big, and in this instance the consequences would be that Ethan contributed to a third of the planet being wiped out.
No, I said the stakes can't go any higher. The stakes aren't high because they've already been this high. So that, and the end of the world is not high stakes. Emotional stakes are better, such as his wife. So the time the stakes were highest in this franchise were Mission Impossible 3, when we thought his wife had actually been killed, or his wife was about to be killed. No, the time the
stakes were highest when they set up that Ethan has only ever loved 2 women, and they're both within a hair's breadth of dying at the end of this movie, and he will do anything to save them.
Okay, my problem. The difference is the stakes being high is one thing, and nuclear bomb about to throw off the world is not high for me. It's been done to death. It doesn't interest me. But consequence is a different thing. Nuclear bombs going off, and Ethan in the fallout of that. See what I did there? And that's what the movie should have been about. Ethan in the fallout of that, dealing with the consequences of his actions and his own failures, is a more interesting movie. So I wish I'd seen that movie.
Okay, but I think you are being a little bit harsh because, okay, fine, the ultimate, like, big bad in this movie is nuclear bombs, right? But actually what the movie did and what the director did is that there were 2 motivations in this movie for me. Catching Henry Cavill, which was the best thing ever, and saving the 2 love interests, which was the best thing ever. And actually they ended up being Ethan's immediate motivation. Like, Ethan isn't scaling the sides of cliffs, jumping on helicopters, wrestling someone down a mountain. chasing one helicopter to the next. Like, Ethan wasn't doing that stuff to save the world. Ethan was doing that stuff to save those 2 women and to catch Henry Cavill. And I think that was really well established, and I really felt it. Like, I thought this man will do anything to protect those 2 women.
I just felt like that was Ethan doing his mission, as he always does. And I'm not. And I know I'm sounding very negative. I cannot stress enough. I thought this was thrilling and brilliant, and I loved it. And
I mean,
the
I get your point.
whole end scene was just superb. But I didn't feel at any point while he's riding his helicopter like he's thinking about his wife actually dying, because he wasn't. Whereas in Mission Impossible 3, he's sitting across from his wife, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is counting down from 10 with a gun to her head, and he's begging for her life. And never has he been better as an actor in this series, and never have the emotional stakes been higher. And that's more interesting. And that's way more interesting than, oh no, we've got to get a detonator and the world's going to end.
Okay,
getting the detonator is thrilling because it's a fun action
speaking
thing.
to someone who doesn't remember Mission Impossible 3, albeit I really enjoyed it at the time, I felt that with this, because she, not only was he showing a photo of her to someone indicating they knew where she was, we then met her.
That bit was the closest this movie came to.
But then we met her,
that.
so he physically saw her, and at the same time Rebecca Ferguson is physically there, and Ving Rhames is explaining, you two are the only women that he's ever cared about. So to me, you can't tell me that I didn't feel really invested in that.
No,
I'm
I'm not telling you what you felt.
Yeah.
I'm not mansplaining your feelings, honey. I'm telling you what I think the movie could have done
but
better.
we should get past that because you made your point, and
fine.
We need to talk about we need to talk about the action scenes.
Okay,
they were phenomenal.
The France stuff was brilliant, and it was kind of just when you think you're done, there's another car chase.
It just never ended.
Sorry, I know we're
okay, we need to go right back to the toilet scene.
No. Something in the France bit which I loved and which we haven't seen before, and which was such a lovely stroke of genius. They've got him, they've got Lane, they've got him in the car, we did it, open the doors, and it's such an innocuous thing. They've got him in the car, open the door, oh, there's a policewoman just standing there.
And they have Lane with the bag over his head.
So incidental, but like they played.
She's just a beat cop on the wrong side of town.
But they played it for a comedy beat, but it's actually, that's a stark reminder that they're just operating in a city and that anything could go wrong at any time.
Well, and there's innocent bystanders. And I like at one point when they say part of the plan, the people Ethan's pretending to work with, they say part of the plan is killing innocent cops. And I just thought, I can't wait for Ethan to fuck with this plan because he will never ever kill an innocent cop. But we need to go further back.
No, but sorry, on that point, that's the only theme this film has, and I think it does it quite well, is Ethan's morality and his unwillingness to sacrifice one life to save many. And he faces that with that French police officer. He faces it when he's imagining the scenario of having to gun down a load of cops in that sort of little flash of him.
Yeah, like he won't do it. Like, that's not his MO.
And so I enjoyed
that's not his
that.
MO.
And I think stop. I think the movie did that really well.
But can we please go back to the first amazing action scene where Tom Cruise... Oh, first of all, you know Tom Cruise actually jumped out of the plane as well that him and Henry Cavill were doing. He did jump out of a plane for that scene as well, when they jump out of the plane over France.
From 7,000
Well, I don't know if it was from that high.
Not.
But he did actually jump out of a plane to film that.
What?
Yeah. And then him and Henry Cavill trying to track the guy in the toilet.
Oh, that's
amazing.
so good.
That's what I want to talk about. And this was, I nearly forgot about this scene because so much happened afterwards. With that guy, he's obviously some sort of martial arts superstar. Like, he was incredible.
He was
kicking
brilliant.
the crap out of Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill, and it was so enjoyable watching them just getting, which is one of the things we both always love about the Mission Impossible movies, is that Tom Cruise is fallible. Now, obviously, he ultimately wins the day, but he can get properly beaten up. I think he was a bit more beaten up in the last movie than he is in this one.
Like, he was outmatched. Him and Henry Cavill together were not as good as that guy.
No, and it was incredible.
It was so good. I think that's the best hand-to-hand fight scene in all of these movies.
Oh,
it's the
incredible.
best one I've seen in
it was like
quite a
wincing,
while.
and like everyone was going, ooh, ah, ah,
but like, it was such a perfect scene from the second they enter the toilet, and you've got they're trying to find which guy it is with their little tiny tracker thing. I liked actually that some of the, I know I was saying that the gadgets were a little bit disappointing, but they were quite lo-fi, which is quite.
And it was believable because you would think, two guys in the toilet could be on their phone, and then he realises what they're up to, and the whole thing kicks off. But and then Rebecca Ferguson shows up, and I was waiting for her to show up.
The whole way that thing was storyboarded from the beginning to the end, the way the plan keeps changing because the computer got smashed and
that was
the
so
mask
fun.
was coming out
They're
wrong.
printing his face and
then
it has
the
a
guy
giant
just
hole in
wakes
his
up.
Yeah, that was
It
awesome.
was like, and then the fight starts again.
And then all the French
It's
people
so
are like
good.
goading them outside the door and laughing at them and singing.
But that's why it's so good, and that's why this movie's so good. Is that it feels like it's happening in amongst people, and civilians play a part.
It's rooted
quite
in like
frequently.
in the world. Now there was an interesting thing the movie did that I don't know if I'm that into, albeit I'm not against it. Is that they didn't use the score as much as I enjoy. Like the actual Mission Impossible score.
It was there quite
like
a
it was
lot.
there, and it was dropped throughout, but it wasn't. You know, some of the other movies really go to town on it, and they didn't go to town on it, which I do enjoy when they do that. We need to talk about. I've never seen Henry Cavill as a baddie before, and I think he's a fantastic baddie. I also immediately knew from the first time he walked on screen that he was the baddie in the movie.
Because he had a mustache.
Well, it looks better on him than when he just has a CG'd nut mustache, which is what we saw in the Justice League. But actually, we were going to do. I don't think we ever said we were going to do a bonus review of the Justice League because loads of people asked us to do it, and then we couldn't finish it, so we never did the review. Do you remember? We have watched it.
Yeah.
And all we watched was for every time we saw Henry Cavill to see whether his lip had been CGI'd or not, because that was all that we.
That
were
was the most
in.
interesting part of that movie.
But he's fantastic baddie. I thought he was
All right,
really fun.
I've got mixed
but I think
feelings.
it was too obvious that he was baddie.
I think mixed feelings about Henry Cavill.
It's also like Henry Cavill's too big an actor to not be the baddie at this point.
First of all, I was actually surprised that he was the baddie in the end, because when he first came on, I thought, oh, he's the baddie, and then there was the moment where he hands Angela Bassett the phone pretty early on, which we had seen was smashed and now wasn't, trying to frame Ethan, and I was like, oh, like now they want us to think he's the baddie, but
well,
we're
that might
very
be a bit
early
of a
on.
subtle clue though, because I hadn't noticed the phone screen not being smashed.
Well, that's because you weren't paying attention.
I was paying attention. I just don't look at phone screens in movies.
It was pretty signposted, but the movie wants us to think it at that point, right? Very
but
clearly.
if the movie wants us to think it wants us to think that we're cleverer and we've solved it before Ethan. Like,
no, usually I thought they were setting us up for a double bluff. We think he's the baddie, but he's actually not the baddie.
no, the double bluff was the best bit, which I guessed as well when Benji had the mask on of the other baddie.
That was great.
That was awesome.
That was a very
Anything
good
that
setup. I
involves
didn't
masks,
guess that.
I'm here for and I'm into, and I just want every scene to be someone ripping a mask off their face at all times. I think it's the best fun ever.
I think Christopher McQuarrie, who wrote and directed this, knows how to play the double, triple, quadruple agent thing very well, and he does it again.
And Alec Baldwin was in on it. Which is really fun at the end. And then I love just that line from Alec Baldwin goes, oh, I see why you guys enjoy this so much. And I thought that is really fun. Like, that is what you would say. And actually, I thought it was, I wasn't upset that he died or anything, but I did think it was a little bit sad because he's the one who believes in Ethan.
Okay, slight niggly thing. Some of the dialogue in this was like, there was some outstanding lines in this, but some of it was like just always went a step too far. Like that bit where Alec Baldwin says, I can see why you guys do this. It's so much fun. Stop there.
Yeah.
That's the punchline. But
I don't remember the next line.
If there's 3 or 4 more lines because they went to each of the characters and they said, glad you're okay, sir. And then Ethan Hunt said, welcome to the team, sir.
Yeah, but if it's your boss and you're trying to indulge him a little bit, wouldn't you have a bit of banter with him?
I don't care. It's a movie. Be cooler than that. Stop at the punchline. There were quite a few lines where I thought, no, this is a bit.
The worst line was when Ving Rhames was explaining to
oh, stop.
The new love interest about the ex-wife, and he says, he's explaining to her that Ethan and the wife ultimately had to break up because, while Ethan was looking after her, she thought, but who's looking after the world? It's like, do you know what? Ethan isn't, like, as much as I love Ethan, like, there's other people in the world. Now, no one will go to Ethan's lengths. Like, I think a typical agent would be more like Benji, right? They try their best and they're good in a team, but ultimately, like, Benji would have died if Rebecca Ferguson wasn't there. Like, Benji's a bit of a lame duck. Like, he's fine. He's a normal level agent. Ethan is, like, next level agent. And Henry Cavill is obviously Superman, so he doesn't count as any real barometer. So I think, like, yes, Ethan Hunt's awesome, but I don't know that she would have been crying at home every night that the world didn't have Ethan looking after it because it was looking after her.
It was a silly monologue, and Ving Rhames didn't sell it.
I thought he sold it because right at the end of it, he said the only reason we're in this mess is because Ethan did this to save my life. Because they always established, like, from the first movie, which we watched last week, they always established that, like, Tom Cruise will do anything for his team. And in this movie, Ving Rhames, like, I thought he did a really good job of actually tearing up at that moment, like, explaining to her, like, he felt like the burden of what was happening because Ethan had done it to save him.
If that line worked, the rest of it didn't.
Oh,
Again, if he'd stopped there and be like, we wouldn't have been in this mess if Ethan had just let me die. Great.
Yeah.
But then it's like, let me tell you a bit about Ethan.
Yeah.
Only 2 women in this world do.
No, but I liked that because that set it
No.
up for me of the emotional depth. I just didn't need the line about her watching Ethan watching the world kind
Anyway,
of thing.
look, we could sit here nitpicking, and I am nitpicking. But
Yeah.
these are the little things that just kind of took me out of it. And I just
But then, okay, we just need to talk about the whole, what felt like real time. 15 minutes, right? Once this bomb goes off, they have 15 minutes to dismantle it. So Benji and Rebecca Ferguson, I cannot remember what
First
her
of
name
all,
is.
sorry.
Is her name Isla?
Quick side note. It was 45 minutes in real time.
Oh, right,
There's
okay.
no way that was 15.
What's her name? Well, no, but each one of them
Ilsa.
got their minutes in real time, so it was 45. It was 3 by 15.
Sure.
So she's Ilsa. Ilsa and Benji are like trying to do one bomb while also fighting the main baddie. Then Ving Rhames and Michelle Monaghan are doing the other bomb, and then Tom Cruise is doing
He's got
the action stuff of his career.
He's flying a
He's
helicopter
doing the
into a
stuff
helicopter.
of his career in terms of this action, like next level. Like it's not in a camp, silly way like the Expendables do it. It's like a genuine way where you kind of think, yeah, he could do this.
Well, it's good because he's always just out of his depth.
Yeah.
Like he gets into a helicopter and he just kind of knows how to fly it,
Yeah.
but not really. And you can see he's kind of shitting it.
Yeah,
And
but also
then-
before he even gets on the helicopter, he hangs off the base of the helicopter for 20
know, yeah.
minutes for going up these mountains. No big deal.
But I just love this movie's so good at throwing obstacles in front of him.
Yeah.
Like the fuel goes, then the fuel's on fire. Then he has to crash the thing.
And
into
he has
the
that moment where he's got this thing hanging off the helicopter that he'd previously jumped on and loved, but now he's hoisted by his own petard. And he thinks he's being amazing, and he hovers over Henry Cavill, and he goes, gotcha, and he drops it and misses, and then he's like,
Yes,
prick,
yeah.
and then him and Henry Cavill looking. And I just thought at that point when Henry Cavill turned and looked at, it's not this train, Dave's pointing at the train, it's not this train, when Henry Cavill looked over and saw Tom Cruise was in the next helicopter, the normal thing in any movie at that point would have been for Henry Cavill to be like, oh my god, look at him, he's made it here, he's a worthy adversary or whatever. But Henry Cavill just goes,
Good dialogue.
but that's the kind of vibe you would normally get. But Henry Cavill just looks over, rolls his eyes, grabs his machine gun and starts shooting. Like
Yeah.
he's just like, oh god, Ethan Hunt's here again. But he's not surprised. Like it's fully what he would expect from Ethan Hunt, from his reputation. I just really enjoyed like every single part of that scene. I loved so much, and then the tension was cut so perfectly, going back to the 2 bombs and all that was happening. Like even within Benji and Rebecca Ferguson, there's still like an incredible fight scene between her and her ex-boss. Like she's an amazing actress. If she was even doing half of those stunts, she's physically incredible. And Benji's just like hanging off the rafters, and she's simultaneously trying to strangle someone while stop someone else from being strangled, which I thought was really cool.
As far as I'm concerned, she's the new James Bond.
She's incredible. She should be James
better
Bond,
than
actually.
James Bond.
She's so much better than Daniel Craig. She'd be amazing. And then you're cutting to Michelle Monaghan and Ving Rhames, of which I know you enjoyed less, but I enjoyed their scenes together as well. Because I just liked the way she just got stuck in and was helping.
Now, don't get me wrong, I like that stuff of
I'm
them.
glad they brought her back.
Them conversing over the nuclear bomb. And I agree, the way they wove those 3 action scenes together was just sublime.
Like any
And
one of them on their own was thrilling. So all 3 of them together, like I actually kept saying, I feel sick, I can't look at this. And then Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill are like basically laying bumper cars into helicopters. And then they both go down the side of a cliff.
Where they go down the side of a cliff was it's just
It's
sensational.
pure Mission Impossible.
But you feel
too.
like you're in there.
Because I'm really afraid of heights, and I feel really sick watching it, but at the same time I just thought I wish I was in IMAX, because I remember when we went to see the Mission Impossible 4 in IMAX.
Ghost Protocol.
Oh my god.
That
and
was,
it
I mean,
just
that was
incredible.
one of the best
And I was
cinema
just so
experiences
ill. And
we've
then when
ever
we
had.
we actually went to Dubai once when we lived in Sydney, because we like stopped over on the way to Ireland, and we went up the Burj Khalifa, and we only went like halfway up it, and I was like, oh my god, Tom Cruise was at the top of this building. And I feel sick being in like the foyer of the middle
top,
of
he
this
was on
movie.
the side of it.
Yeah, like it's just, I mean, but in terms of the height, like how high that building was, and like this movie, like again, I just really felt like, now this is the bit where I thought it has to be CGI, because there's a bit where him and Henry Cavill are basically wrestling on a cliff, but then the next moment there's like this really sheer drop, and you're like, okay, obviously they're not wrestling on that cliff, but it's so well done that like they could be.
Yeah, but then when they pull out, Tom Cruise is actually on that cliff.
Yeah, he's definitely on the cliff.
Like, ever since Mission Impossible 2, he's been gunning to get back on a cliff.
Yeah, he's been
I feel like in
dying.
every production meeting he was like, yeah, but where's the cliff?
Yeah.
Is there a cliff in this one?
And
Alright,
we
I
need
think
to, we're
we
going to
should
do
wrap
a
this
special
up.
episode where we review the first episode, because we just want to hark back to the first one, the first movie. So we won't talk about the first movie, but the difference in the stunts now compared to that first movie is, I mean,
Yeah,
this
the
is
budgets are bigger.
absolute, but it's not just the budgets, it's the ambition Like, it's so ambitious with stunts, like, already, and it's probably not even in pre-production. I can't wait for the next movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is the movie we've both been most looking forward to all year in terms of just, well, I don't know about you in Avengers, maybe you might have been more looking forward to that.
This was it.
This is the cinema event.
It's
If I
just
could
such
go
a
to one
reliable
movie,
franchise.
if I could go to one movie every 3 years in the cinema, it would be a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be devastated. But, like, to be fair, like, at this point, it's a franchise running, like, 20 years with the same actor playing the same character. Did
22 years.
anyone ever play Bond as many times as he's played Ethan Hunt?
I'm not. I don't really care for Bond.
But it doesn't matter.
All our listeners are screaming the answer.
Yeah,
to it.
okay,
I feel
sorry.
like Roger Moore did 6. I don't know. We're not.
But
on
I mean, I'm not
anti-internet,
like.
guys.
I mean, I enjoy a Bond
We're
movie,
sorry,
but there's just
we don't
nothing
know.
like this. You know, this is just like you're really invested in the character. I'm really invested in the character of Ethan at this point. Like, I genuinely care about him, and I genuinely enjoy watching him, and I genuinely look forward to the next movie.
come on.
But our train's here, so we should get on, so we're not those weirdos podcasting on the train.
Thanks for
usual.
listening. Sorry we spoke so fast. We're just really excited.
Yeah, we're sorry. Yeah, our Irish accents get really strong when we see in a Mission Impossible movie.
You can tweet us, Instagram us, Facebook us. Let us know what you thought at the Cinemile. Do you agree with all my nitpicky points, or am I just being silly?
And also keep an eye and ear out, because we will be reviewing Mission Impossible 1. What's the first one called?
Just said that.
I know. I'm just saying. What's the subtitle of the first one?
First one is called Mission Impossible 1.
Okay, the first one's called Mission Impossible 1. And then, as we mentioned in the intro, listen to the Torn Stubs podcast, because Dave has actually gone and rewatched all the movies with them.
Yeah, and
it's a long
brilliant.
episode.
Let us know what's your favourite one.
Yeah.
Because I haven't quite figured that out yet, but it's probably...
Because I don't remember any of the other ones as strongly, so that's what I'm just going to say. This is my favourite one.
Tweet us, let us know, at the Cinemile, and please, if you haven't already subscribed to us, please do keep listening.
Keep listening,
listen
and
to our
leave us
old
a 5-star
episodes.
review on iTunes, please.
Do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Gotta go.
Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Sir, I urge you not to leave this road.
Excuse me.
Please. Hunt is uniquely trained and highly motivated. A specialist without equal, immune to any countermeasures. There is no secret he cannot extract, no security he cannot breach, no person he cannot become. He has most likely anticipated this very conversation and is waiting to strike in whatever direction we move. Sir, Hunt is the living manifestation of destiny, and he has made you his mission.
As we deal with the challenges of hybrid working and talent wars in this new world of work, the Financial Times helps you understand what might be next. I'm Isabel Berwick, the host of the FT's Working It podcast. Each week, we discuss the ideas and trends shaping the future of work. The FT's broad coverage and unique insights can help you to make sense of it all. Check out our podcasts and read selected articles free at ft.com/insights.